sleep quality rewires the way that you eat. So if healthy eating is feeling especially difficult for you, sleep could be one of the missing puzzle pieces. In this episode, we're going to break down how even mild sleep deprivation can change your appetite, cravings, and decision-making around food, and why addressing sleep is one of the most overlooked ways to make nutrition feel easy and more sustainable. If your wellness journey has you stuck in a cycle of overwhelm and inconsistency, it's time to lean in. Together, we are unlocking the confidence and clarity to make your health feel like a peaceful return home. Welcome to the Health Habit Podcast. I'm Maria, a nature-loving herbalist, science-obsessed nutrition therapy practitioner, and your guide to holistic healing. If you're ready for realistic routines that bring more presence and fulfillment into your life, then brew up some tea or crack open a kombucha and let's get into it. Last week on the Health Habit Podcast, we talked about how sleep quality can impact habit formation and our ability to stay consistent with our goals and the plans that we create for ourselves. Today, I specifically wanted to talk about how our food choices change when we are not getting enough sleep, aka when we are sleep deprived. And before I get into the specifics of the biological shifts that happen, I just want to define what is sleep deprivation. So 7 hours is the cutoff point. Anything under 7 hours is considered sleep deprivation. There are some crazy physiological changes that happen even with a 6-hour sleep window. Now, of course, when we're talking about number of hours, we are referring to sleep quantity, and sleep quality is also going to dramatically impact our physiology. For the sake of today's conversation, we're just going to assume that quality is good, and we're only going to think about sleep deprivation in terms of quantity, with 7 hours and under being qualified as sleep deprivation. So what happens when we do not get enough sleep? How does our nutrition behavior change? So the first thing that happens is we're going to have increases in hunger and appetite. There is a slight metabolic increase, so we're going to burn like a teeny bit more calories when we're sleep deprived, but the hunger and appetite raises past that point. It's also going to push our food choices towards quick, energy-dense comfort foods. And it's going to weaken our impulse control and predispose us towards larger portions of food. Sleep deprivation is also going to make weight loss a lot harder. And as we talked about in last episode 39, there is a shift into autopilot habits. So whatever habits are most patterned into our brains are the ones that we default to when we do not get enough sleep. How dramatically does our food behavior actually change though? So they have found that when you are sleep deprived, so under 7 hours of sleep, you tend to have around 300 extra calories a day. So if we are not getting enough sleep on a regular basis, and we're consuming 300 calories a day on a daily or weekly basis, that can equate to 70,000 calories per year. That is a potential weight gain of 10 to 15 pounds just because of these biological shifts towards more hunger and more calorie-dense food choices. But what's actually changing in the brain? So when we have sleep loss, there is an increase in a circulating compound called endocannabinoids, and these cause more appetite signaling. So we are hungrier. And there's also this heightened reward response to food. So there's reward centers in our brain, those dopamine centers, that brain feeling where you're like, ooh, this feels good, I want more. That reward system tends to be heightened towards food. And then because of those two things, we're having more cravings without a true energy need. Because as I said, there is a slight metabolic increase, but it is not dramatic, and we tend to eat more than we actually need. As far as brain imaging studies, they have found that when you are sleep deprived, there's lower activity in the frontal regions of the brain. This is where like the really logical thinking happens. So the planning and, the impulse control, that's all going down. And then at the same time, they see more activity in the reward or the emotional centers, notably the amygdala. So we're going to be chasing more reward and emotion satisfaction type behaviors. And as a result, we are going to be biased towards higher calorie foods that are satisfying that reward response in the brain. And we also have more hunger from those endocannabinoids that we just talked about, those appetite signalers. So all of that tends to lead to more frequent snacking, grazing, if you will, throughout the day, more irregular meal times, because when we feel that craving, that burst towards hunger, we're less likely to say no, and so the meal times can alter a bit. And as I mentioned, we're predisposed towards the foods that signal pleasure to the brain. So these are the more calorie-dense, ultra-processed foods that are high in fat, sugar, carbohydrate, and also we tend to gravitate towards more salty foods. So these aren't your classical health foods. And because there's that lower impulse control and more of that reward system lighting up, we tend to eat larger portions too. So more frequent snacking, larger portions, irregular meal timing, and we're predisposed towards high fat, sugar, carbohydrate, salt foods. Some other behavioral shifts that tend to happen when we're sleep deprived is more evening snacking, tendency towards more of the convenience aspect of things, so more eating out, less home cooking, skipping breakfast, and there is a bi-directional relationship between sleep deprivation, food choices, and then food choices and sleep quality. So as we've talked about, sleep deprivation is going to push you more towards that classically unhealthy diet where we're grabbing more high calorie, low nutrient foods rather than vegetables and fruits. So that's happening. And at the same time, diets that are high in carbohydrate and sugar and low in fiber also reduce the amount of deep non-REM sleep that we get, which is very important, very restorative to our body. If you want to learn more about the specific benefits of each stage and the physiological benefits of sleep in general, go listen to episode 6. So high sugar, high carb, low fiber diet is going to reduce the amount of deep non-REM sleep, and it also increases the amount of times that we wake up throughout the night. So our sleep quality is going to decline, which is again going to increase our sense of fatigue, and all of the stuff that we've talked about so far in the episode is going to continue on. So that is that bi-directional relationship where low sleep quality pushes you towards an unhealthy diet, and then unhealthy food choices are going to negatively impact your sleep quality. So sleep is a very essential tool for healthy living and, as we talked about in the last episode, habit formation. Now, right now, we are just beginning 2026, and the most common New Year resolution is weight loss. So I wanted to just really quickly highlight one other thing as it relates to weight loss, because obviously everything we've talked about, this biological shift that's changing your food choices, your cravings, your ability to say no to food is all going to make weight loss harder. But the other really key thing to highlight is that when you are sleep deprived and you put yourself on a reduced calorie diet, the weight loss that can stem from that is going to be mainly from muscle rather than fat. I'll say it again. If you are not sleeping well and you are restricting your calories, you are probably going to be losing more muscle tissue than fat tissue. So sleep is really important to focus on if your goal is weight loss. I just wanted to take a quick moment to really highlight that because I want you guys to be able to lose weight sustainably long term, but also while improving your health and well-being. If you are working towards any kind of body recomposition goal, sleep is not optional. It is absolutely essential. So what now? What can we do with this information now that we have more of an understanding of the changes that happen in our food choices when we don't sleep well enough? We could talk about sleep hygiene. It can be really important, but let's be real. So many people talk about sleep hygiene. So I want to give you some practical, really effective things that aren't just sleep hygiene. So I'm going to give you a sleep nutrition reset menu here. I always like to give 3 options. So what I would love for you guys to do is to pick one option. You are more than welcome to write down all 3 and slowly work through all 3 options, but pick whichever one you feel drawn towards first. So option 1 is to eat breakfast within 90 minutes of waking. This helps reinforce your circadian rhythms, which is going to help promote a healthy sleep cycle. As a little aside, it's really great to prioritize protein and fiber in your breakfast. This is going to help reduce late day cravings, help stabilize your blood sugar, and prevent snacking later in the day. Option 2 is either morning light exposure or reduced evening light exposure. Light input into your eyes is the main way that your body can tell what time of day it is and whether it should be telling you to sleep or be alert. So getting sunlight into your eyes early in the day helps promote that alertness, reinforce those circadian rhythms, and just make sure that your body is balanced in its 24-hour cycle. Evening light exposure is going to be really important for timing melatonin release in the brain. Melatonin is one of the factors that helps you to feel sleepy and fall asleep well. So reducing the amount of light that your eyes are subjected to later in the day is super helpful because as the day goes on, your eyes actually become more and more sensitive to light. So even a bedside lamp can actually negatively impact your melatonin release and negatively impact your sleep quality as a result. Option 3 is designing a I'm tired default meal. This is very similar to the meal automation strategy that I outlined in episode 34. If you have not already listened to episode 34, I would highly suggest giving that one a listen. But really what we were trying to do is make it more convenient to eat a healthy meal. So before you have that low energy fatigue day, we can say, this is my comforting, easy prep meal that I can default to on my tired days post poor sleep. So design that for yourself, make it nourishing, make it satisfying, and when you're tired, bada bing, bada boom, you already know what your plan is. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be better than the alternative of letting your physiology gear you towards high fat, high sugar, high salt foods. And that's it, my friends. I just want you to pick one of those 3 options to help support your nutrition and your sleep. And as always, if this has got the wheels turning and you want to learn more about how to get more high quality sleep, how to plan your days and your nutrition plans in a way that encourages sleep, encourages balanced circadian rhythms, this is the work we do inside of Wellness Consistency Coaching. This is a one-on-one coaching program that is essentially a life designing experience. We sit down together and we think about all of your top health concerns, all of your wellness goals, and we design a plan that fits your real life. You have an expert at your fingertips who literally dives into the world of you and helps you to really design something that works for you. So if that's something you'd like to take advantage of so you can have a wellness plan that you maintain well past January, then head over to thehealthhabit.net/services or shoot me an email or a DM if you'd like. And let's design that dream life together. And that concludes today's conversation about sleep deprivation and nutrition. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I hope you just have the most lovely sleep tonight. I'll see you all next week. Bye!